Max Verstappen, which unlocked their race. Right, let's do Max Verstappen, then we will take a break. And the frayed relationship, there's Christian Horner with the trademark leather bag leaving the motorhome. Yeah, I mean, he called, first of all, they're calling it a racing incident, which is what Red Bull do when it's Max Verstappen's fault. But everyone else is calling it Max Verstappen's fault with the last bit, with outbraking himself, and would have gone straight on had Lewis not turned in. Lewis did turn in. Well, Lewis didn't turn in. He was there, and then Max went over his wheel, as I've just described. That meant that Max wouldn't finish on the podium, but he was chasing Lewis Hamilton at the time. And the car, they had to set up to protect the rear tyres. That meant they had understeer. There's nothing Max Verstappen hates more than understeer, and that meant that his weekend was compromised really from the start, despite them having some decent upgrades here. And that meant that, yeah, he was in a sort of tetchy mood. Because the car wasn't doing what he wanted. Then he was tetchy because the strategy meant that they were going longer. They allowed themselves to get undercut by Lewis Hamilton because they thought that they would be able to, with a tyre advantage, get Hamilton back later. Max may have felt that they didn't want to do that, but then he possibly could have made that absolutely clear on the radio. You would argue actually that maybe he did inherently by saying that this is a bleep strategy, and then had a go at by GP for not taking it easy on his tyres at the beginning of a stint in a brilliant, very amusing. I mean, their relationship's classic, isn't it? When GP said, "Well, that's some gentle introduction," sarcastically, and then that really was the last straw for Max. He said, "Mate, you gave me this bleep strategy, and what do you want me to do? I'm trying to rescue something out of this terrible day." And you've got to, in many ways, you've got to feel sorry for everybody at Red Bull today. You've got to feel sorry for Max because he's had to deal with this car and end up cross. Got to feel sorry for GP with his passive-aggressive and sarcastic radio messages. Got to feel sorry for the strategy team, Hannah Schmitz and Will Courtney, because they've got it in the neck from Max today. You've got to feel sorry for Max Verstappen because he hasn't had the one before. Anyway, there you go. Look, they finished 5th, and Sergio Perez 7th, of course, the second of the Q1 dropouts, racing George Russell, but he did get the better of Russell despite starting behind him on the grid.